How y'all doing? And thanks for tuning in to Wicked Mornings. This is George, and we're your #1 source for construction and emergency safety and strobe lighting equipment for cars, vans, trucks, buses, SUVs, bicycles, and tricycles. This will be the first of many of our new videos. It's going to be kind of a how-to series. What we're working on right now, right in front of us, is a 2016 Dodge Ram 2500. Now, this is not a Laramie or the I forget what the other trim is they use for the fancy headlights, but notice the headlight, that this is a regular standard edition headlight and tail light. We're going to be putting in Hideaway Strobes. That's the kind that sit inside the lens in the high beam headlight area right here. We're also going to put them in the reverse and the cargo. So the first thing we're going to need to do is get these headlights and tail lights and the cargo light out of the truck and over to the bench to take a look. You can see that I started on that. Up top here on your plastic shroud, you're going to have some push pins that you need to remove. Those are just the plastic snap-in push pins, as you can see like that. Then this plastic shroud will come off. Then you're going to have some 10mm bolts that are holding the grill in place. There's going to be 2 bolts that look like this, plastic anchor bolts. They're going to go on the outside edges, and then the 2 metal threaded bolts that look like this, they're going to go in the center. Again, the fine thread on the metal in the center and the coarse thread on the plastic on the outer after you remove and you go to put it back. Then the grill is just going to snap forward and pop off of the vehicle. There you go. Now, once the grill is out, we're going to be accessing the headlight retaining bolts, which are here, as well as here and here. Here in the headlight, this is the bolt that we need to worry about, and this is the bolt, and then behind in the wheel well, there's a plastic tab that I'll try to elaborate on. This bolt is actually for the lower trim, and it does not need to be removed. My preferred tool is a 10mm swivel on an extension, and as you can see, it fits in there quite nicely. And this is a little bit longer bolt, so you're able to remove that bolt entirely, as well as this top one. And you can see that's a little shorter bolt. So the longer bolt is the one that goes down here on the bottom. This is where it gets a little tricky. There is a little trap door in here. And no, there's no pirate's treasure behind that trap door. But once you open it up, take you inside the door, a little trap door. And in there you can see that white retaining ring. That's the last piece of the puzzle. And that is what's holding that headlight in from the backside. Currently, the retaining ring is in the up position, which has the, actually it's in the down position. You're going to push it up to unlock the headlight. So let's do it together. Sorry. Okay, so there you can see how that retaining ring, it slid up right there. So see how it slid up, and now this particular part of the headlight right there, that black ring will come out. It's like a square peg, and the white plastic slides down and locks that black square peg in place. Okay, so I'll take it out here live. Or it's gonna make a fool of me. These are a little bit tricky. That peg doesn't want to let go. All right, so a little magic of movie making there. I helped myself out. What I was fighting with, just so you can see, was this right here. There's a little ball stud, and it snaps in right here. Sometimes you think it's this clip that's really holding you, and it's just this ball stud below it. As you can see, this one's a little crusty and rusty, and that was kind of locked in there. So had to get back in there and give it a little bit of a push, and it was able to get popped right out. And now we can make our disconnections. I usually just take the light bulb clean out like that, stash it here, and the headlight will simply unplug. And now you have the light completely out, ready to go to work. To disassemble the tails is very easy. It's a T25 Torx on the 2 screws right here. Tail light pops off, pretty self-explanatory. And to disassemble the cargo, it's 2 Phillips screws, and then the cargo light unplugs. It comes right off in your hands as well. Pretty self-explanatory. All right, now over here on the workbench, let me explain what we're going to be doing here. So with this particular light, we are going to mount our Hideaway right here where the factory light was after we enlarged that hole to 1 inch. And if we want to retain the factory light, we're going to drill a hole right here and put the factory light back next to where the hideaway is. We want to put the hideaway here so it's maximum brightness out the back. We put it on an angle, it's not going to be as bright. So we're going to, again, hideaway where the factory light is. And if you want the factory light to be replaced, put it back on the edges, on the sides here, by drilling a 3/4 hole for the factory light to go back into and a 1 inch hole for the hideaway. On our tail lights, we're going to go into the reverse portion, and as you see, the light comes up from the bottom from the factory. So our hideaway location mounting is going to be right here coming in, and that's going to give it an outward. If you see how this is sitting on the truck, the hideaway is going to point on an outward angle like that, which is going to be great for corner warning. If we put it here, it would actually be pointing kind of inward angle, and they'd be kind of cross-eyed, so to speak. So by putting this hideaway right about here, and we got to be careful we don't crash it into that bulb, so do drill carefully, and we're going to go right about here with this hideaway. You could, I guess, if you wanted, you could try to go from the top down. I prefer to go on the side here. Now on these headlights, we don't have a whole lot of stuff to work with. I don't ever bother to go in the low beam because when the headlights are on, it's useless, so we stay out of there. We have a high beam we can go in, and we have a parking area we can go in. This is our parking signal lens. This is our high beam lens. We are going to need to come in from the bottom. This is a dual wall lens. It has 2 layers, so we're either going to come in here if you prefer to mount it in the corner in the parking, but I have found that this fluting on the lens actually kind of affects the light a little bit, and I get a little better punch and a little brighter flash out of the high beam area, kind of coming right up here from the bottom in the corner of the high beam. So when I mount these, I'm actually kind of, you see these lines, we'll kind of go off of those for reference, and they bring you up to about the middle. So when I mount these, I drill the hole kind of right about here. And that's what we'll be doing today, is we're going to be coming up into the high beam portion to get the maximum brightness for this. And as I said, this is 2 layers. Okay, so back to the Dodge lenses. We've got them drilled now, and I'm going to show you a little bit better. Here's the reverse. We drill the hole there. This hole is in a good spot right here. You could go over that way just a little bit. See, I got a little close to the edge there. Just start over that way just a tiny bit more. You'll be fine. And when you do drill this, drill it upside down so all the shavings come out of it. If you like, we have a 1 inch drill bit that we use. It'll be for sale on the site. You can see it for direction. Here is the cargo. You can see here we enlarged that to 1 inch. We always pre-drill for our little screws with a 1/16 inch drill bit, and we put the screws. I find 2 screws are fine on that, and this is how the bulb goes right back in from the side. You can see we're using a low dome Echo Haw in here. We can use any low dome product, but I do like the low dome here because it doesn't interfere with the light bulb. You can see it's a little bit tight right there, but it does work. And now you have your factory cargo light and your strobe lights, and both are going to work very good and very awesome. You do not need to use a gasket here, as there's a gasket right here. So this is actually an internal mount inside the truck, so no gasket needed, no waterproofing needed right here. However, on the reverse light, you will want to use that gasket, and you will want to align your screws appropriately. You can see here how I have these 2 here because of the light edge, but the gasket covers it up very nice. And it's a good idea, honestly, to take some RTV, which we are going to do, and go across the top here. So as water pours down, it doesn't get anywhere into the edge right there. Just a little extra protection. Put a little RTV on the top there for you, and you'll be good to go. And you can see how this went right into the lens there. Again, here, we like a low dome product, so we don't get any interference with the factory reverse bulb. And that is how the lights are going to be installed into the Dodge tail lights and the Dodge cargo light. Once again, that's where your hole is. Again, maybe about 1/8 of an inch closer this way. Alrighty, so back to the headlights. These Dodge headlights, as I was saying, we're going to come up in from the bottom. You can see this one we've already gotten drilled out. Obviously, drill from the bottom up. Vacuum cleaner is your best friend. Hole saw works good. Step bit works good. Either one. You can see here it is dual layer. There is an advanced method you could use by heating up a hole saw and pushing it through as a cookie cutter. If you want to try that method, that's a drill-free method. You just simply heat up the hole saw with a propane torch and take the center bit out and push it through like a cookie cutter. Caution, it's easy to melt the hell out of a lens and do that wrong, so be careful. Now you can see where the hole comes up in here. Here's our Hideaway. We are using our High Dome Echo Haw. It's the tallest light we have at the moment. We are manufacturing an even taller one, so stay tuned for that. But right now, this is our tallest light, and you can do this two ways. You can drill the 1-inch hole like we did through both layers, the single 1-inch hole, and that is the easier way, and that is also, I believe, the most effective way. You drop this in like that, and you can see when you put it in here, you can aim it. See how I'm turning the lights? So try to aim it with the two bouncing forward like that. And what that's going to do is there'll be two forward and then the one backwards. See? So the two forward on an angle and one backwards that'll reflect back. So we put it in the headlight like that. And you get 6 out of the 9 LEDs visible. So I do believe that this is the most effective way. If you want to drill a larger hole here and recess this even further in and seal this all up with headlight tape, we have the headlight patch tape. You can do that. I just find that the risk versus the reward usually on that mod isn't really worth it. And for novice installers, I just suggest to drill the 1-inch hole straight through like this. And I'll show you over here on this headlight. This is kind of one we have done. We've mounted it. As you can see in there, we're getting a good flash out of all those LEDs. And I used a piece of the headlight sealing tape just to tape down the wire here and zip tied it with the factory wire. And this is the way we're going to recommend this method. As I said, if you want to hog this out and bury it in there and try to seal this all up, you can. But it's difficult to seal that all up perfectly. And when we mounted this, I actually even put a little RTV around there with the gasket just to make sure it's really good and sealed. But it is on the bottom of the headlight, so hopefully the water won't be pooling up or trying to drip in there. So that's how we're doing the headlights. Hopefully you can follow suit easy enough. Alrighty, as you can see up here on the roof, we're getting ready to reinstall our cargo light. We're going to take our fish tape. We've got it feeding right down in here above the headliner. That's going to be coming out right down here. I got another DIY video about that I'm going to link to, about particularly the airbag and how you want to stay away from that stuff. You can see here where our fish tape goes underneath the metal and above the headliner like that. That's going to pull our wiring through. The wiring that's going to control all of these lights right here. You can see our fish tape right here on the door. And our main point to make here is pull this down here a little so I can show you better. Stay away from that airbag. Don't be wrapping wires around the airbag. Obviously, those twisted pair are part of the airbag, but you can see where our fish tape is there, and it comes along behind there. We want to keep our wire way in the back and bring it down here. All right. We don't want to shove it all in here and try to wrap around any of this stuff. This is critical airbag, so stay away from it. And get that wire way in the back there, way back corner. Bring it down here, and we're going to take that wire this way, underneath the trim, all the way forward to our switches. Around the back here. You can see there's our Hideaway on our passenger lens. We're about ready to reinstall that. Leave yourself a little bit of slack here. Oh, got some RTV on me. Ew. Leave yourself a little bit of slack there. Put it all back together. You can see that wire there is going to go under the bumper, follow the factory wire. It's going to come all the way over to this side over here. And over here, you got our power control cable. Of course, we're waterproofing all these connections. Those are our naked uninsulated butt connectors and our heat shrink tubing. Yellow wire was not needed, so we just kept it off to the side for future use, perhaps. Waterproofed it. This is our module. We're going to mount our module right in here, along with the factory wiring. We've got our tail light ready to go back in. We've got that wire running forward. Of course, we're going to pretty this up and tape this up, make it a lot nicer. So that's just to show you what's up. We followed the frame already all the way to here. We're going to continue following that frame. We're going to go all the way underneath the hood with that, and I'll show you where. This one here, as I said, we're going to run under the panel all the way to the front switch. in the vehicle, but we'll continue to follow the frame, follow the factory harness. We're going to come up right back here. And the reason being is underneath the hood, Dodge has this real nice plastic plate. We're going to drill a hole just like the plow people have already done. And that's where we'll take that rear line into the truck. So we'll also be taking our power and ground into the truck. Our ground is right here on the fender, factory ground here. Follow that wire. There's a nice factory ground stud right here. Put my finger on it. And your power, we're just going to take off the battery over here. This truck's got a plow and many other things, so we're just going to pop off here, put a waterproof fuse holder, and then we're going to go inside and do the switch. Now we got the headlights put back in place as well. There you can see the lighting there in front and the headlight. And our module is going to mount somewhere right up in here, wherever's convenient. When we tidy up all that headlight stuff, put all that wiring back, bring the passenger over, mount the module here. We're going to extend the front module just the same way we did the back with that waterproof shrinking. We're going to run that inside too. That way we've got 3 wires in the truck, one for the cargo, one for the front, one for the rear. And you could run it on 3 switches, 1 switch, whatever you like. So that's kind of how I wanted to do that way. It gives you the option of putting either 1, 2, or 3 switches on your dashboard, whatever you like. Here in the truck, our plans right now, I think I'm going to pop a switch either right here or right here. I haven't quite exactly decided. You could do it here, here, here. There's a lot of different spots. You could even put 3 in a row right here, probably. And let me open that up, and I'll hit you on the next video with that as far as where we're going to put the switches. Alrighty guys, so here's the final result. You can see we went with kind of a varying pattern in the amber up top. It is not synchronized to the lower, but you could if you wanted to synchronize it. We do have a triple flash alternation on all 4 white corners. And then, as I said, we went a little different with the amber just to throw a little variation into the mix and kind of simulate a rooftop light bar, the way it goes from slow to fast like that. We've reassembled everything, ran our wiring, cleaned up everything. And already back here in the cab of the truck, as I mentioned earlier, you could go through this way or this way. It's double layer or straight down. I like to be a little different, so I went straight down. And I'll zoom out here. You can see my weapon of choice there. I'll show it to you. This is what we used when we did it. Just a nice 90-degree drill with a unit bit. We were able to do that 3/4 hole like that. And we brought the wiring down and we kind of tidied it up over alongside of the dash here. And as you can see, gives you a nice, highly visible switch right there, right by the tachometer. Nice blue full illumination switch, but you can pick any color you like. Here underneath the hood, we've got our power, our nice fuse. Everything is ran nicely back to our hole there. Nice and clean, tidied everything up. I'm going to leave some of the small details like that to you all. You all know how to make it look good and tidy up a wire. Okay, so back around the front of the truck here, this is the result we got. Same pattern as the rear. It's a triple flash with that little bit of hang on it. I believe it might be the default pattern that our Echo Hawk comes in. Alternating nicely in the high beam headlights. There you can see a close-up of it. I'll back the truck up and show you a little bit more shortly. And there, once again, you can see the final result of our Hideaway right there in the light. Oh, pardon my focus bomb there. Oh. There, I'm trying my best to get it in focus, but it's fighting me. So there you go. There's the Hideaway. That's right up there, a little bit better. In the bottom of that high beam headlight. Ooh, sorry about that. Oh, geez. Oh, my. Okay. Sorry about that to anybody. So, hopefully this is informative. You liked it. If I missed something, let me know.